y'all, welcome and welcome back to She Sell Books, where we get booked and stay booked. Period. Today, we are talking about Down South Bayou. It's going to take everything in me not to talk in my southern accent for this entire episode. If you hear it slip, no you didn't. Thank you. Or maybe yes you did, I don't give a damn. So Down South Bayou is the story of two black women in Baton Rouge who end up falling in love. One is a basketball player for the WNBA and the other is a physical therapist. This book was published in 2024, so the verbiage is pretty updated, like to the times. And my favorite thing about this book is every chapter is titled something Bayou. Overall, the book is funny, it's romantic, it's lighthearted. It's a very easy read and I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with both characters and I just really want to be gay this Pride Month, but I am single, not looking to mingle for real, so it's just gonna be me and my books. And I fell in love with these two, so for the week these two are my wives. Yeah. Last week we talked about For Her by Elia Johnson, and I only had one wife in that book, but this one I love both of the main characters so much that I want them both. If you haven't checked out last week's episode, you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you choose to listen to me. Let's kind of get into our story. I'll introduce some characters, give you a little overview, and then we'll go in depth. Our first main character that we meet is Cheyenne. Cheyenne is 27, black, a physical therapist. She identifies as pansexual. She's about 5'8", and in my opinion, she's either a Virgo or a Libra because she was born in September, but based off her vibes, I'm going to say she's a Virgo. I'm going to say we're kind of one and the same. That's my homegirl for real. Our other main character is Harley or Harlow. Government name Harlow, nickname that everybody calls her is Harley. Harley identifies as she, they. They're 31. They play for the WNBA for the Baton Rouge team. She's about 6'3", and she's either an Aries or a Taurus. She's born in April, but I'm leaning towards she's a Taurus. Some other characters that you should know are Dante, Cheyenne's ex-boyfriend slash fiance. He is just an asshole. He just sucks. Our other character that you should know is Kelsey, which is Harley's ex-girlfriend. And she also sucks. She sucks worse than Dante in my opinion. She's fucking crazy. But we'll get into that. I think you should also know Nyla. Let's call her Nyla because I like saying that better. Nyla is Cheyenne's cousin that she lives with. And she's a private chef for the WNBA team that Harley plays on. You should also know Simone and Corey, who are like the best friends of Harley, also on the team. You should also know Shannon and Lyric, who are the older and younger sister of Harley, respectively. So those are our characters. The overarching plot is that these two women run into each other, start dating, fall in love. It's a beautiful story. And it's just a story of the beginning of their relationship as they figure out how to really integrate each other into the other's lives. Meeting friends, meeting family, the exes, just those beginning trials and tribulations of a new relationship. But it is a bit messy. It does get pretty messy. I'm going to be screaming a little bit because I was livid. I was shocked. But like I said, this book is overall very funny and it's very updated to the times. I would say there's no real awkward dialogue as I find in some woman-loving woman books. It's very modern. Could see me having this same dialogue. I probably have had some of the same dialogue. And it just flows very naturally. In our prologue, we find out that Dante and Cheyenne have been dating for about 5 years all throughout medical school. And now that they have both graduated, Dante decides to propose. About 20 minutes later when they get home, there's a woman waiting in Dante's apartment saying that she's pregnant with his baby and the baby is 5 months old. After that, Cheyenne pretty much packs it up in that moment, asking pretty much zero questions, and she leaves the apartment. Caught up in her thoughts, Cheyenne ends up almost stepping out into the street when a car is coming, but luckily, Harley is there to catch her before she falls. There, these women have a cute little interaction before Dante comes out of the apartment chasing after Cheyenne, trying to get back with her. But instead, she gets into her car and leaves without getting Harley's phone number. Since Cheyenne was planning on moving in with Dante the next day, her lease was up. So instead, she decided to move in with her cousin, Nyla. Nyla happens to have a new job as a private chef for the WNBA team in Baton Rouge, and she invites her cousin Cheyenne to a game one day. Because she works with the team, Nyla gets pretty much floor seats, and so it's her and Cheyenne sitting courtside watching the game. As the starting lineup comes out to begin the game, Cheyenne recognizes one of the players. It's Harley, and Harley makes eye contact with her since she's sitting courtside and sees Cheyenne and cannot believe that she's there. Throughout the entire game, Cheyenne and Harley are making pretty heavy eye contact, and Harley is showing out on the court trying to impress Cheyenne. Now, if you know me, you know my biggest goal in life, the thing I will never shut up about, is I deserve to be a WNBA wife. I love basketball. I love women. I love sitting courtside looking cute. What more is there for me in this lifetime? Nothing. If I could figure out a way to be a WNBA wife, I would. Now, if you're telling me I have to wait until I'm 27, shoot me. But I would rather wait for my WNBA wife than settle. I know who I am and who I'm meant to be, and you guys will not be taking that away from me. So this book is quite literally my fantasy. This is exactly what I wish would happen to me, and I just don't know how to make that possible because I cannot date a man for 5 years. Did I tell y'all that Cheyenne and Dante were dating for 5 years? 5 years. Through medical school. And he got another bitch pregnant, and then the bitch shows up after you propose to me? I need to be a WNBA wife. I refuse to date a man for 5 years if that's what it takes. But if that's what it takes, hey, I just need confirmation that I'll get my WNBA wife in the end. Back to our story. The book is written in dual POVs, so we get to see both women's points of views and their thoughts, and it's really cute. After making googly eyes at each other the entire game, Cheyenne says that it felt like the world around them didn't exist, and it was hard to forget that it did exist because no one had made her feel that way ever. First ever, you were with a man for 5 years, and he ain't never make you feel like the world around y'all didn't exist? But it's like, girls, also stand up. You don't know this woman. Please. After the game, Harley goes to get food, and of course Cheyenne is helping her cousin cater after the game, and that is where they meet again, and Harley tells Cheyenne to put her number in her phone so that they can call and text every now and again. After a couple of days or even weeks of texting and calling and FaceTiming each other, Harley ends up planning a little weekend overnight stay at her apartment. That night, when Cheyenne is supposed to be coming over, Harley hears a knock at the door, expecting it to be Cheyenne. Well, dun dun dun, it's her fucking ex-girlfriend. Let me tell you the backstory between her and the ex-girlfriend. As stated, Harley is a WNBA player, and she started her career working in Baton Rouge. I don't know the name of the team, I'm so sorry. She meets this woman. This woman convinces her to switch teams to Atlanta, and Harley and the woman end up moving to Atlanta, and they have plans of getting married and having children and all of this. As a typical ATL hoe who does a bad job of representing the woman-loving women in Atlanta as a bitch from Atlanta, Kelsey ends up cheating on Harley and ends up getting pregnant by an NFL player and then marries him. After that relationship went downhill, Harley moved back to Baton Rouge and left that bitch in Atlanta. Which is why it's so fucking crazy for this bitch to be showing up in Baton Rouge at Harley's door. At Harley's door, Kelsey is basically begging to get back together with Harley, saying how much she misses her. It was all a mistake. And While Harley is kind of caught up in the emotions because she hasn't seen the bitch in 2 years, she knows that it's not right for her. During this conversation, of course, Cheyenne shows up and sees this bitch trying to touch on her new woman. One thing about Cheyenne that you should know, she get active about hers. She get real active about hers. She about to fight the bitch in the hallway of the apartment. However, Harley not going for it. She not letting her ex mess up this new thing that she has. So instead, she pulls Cheyenne into the apartment, closes the door on the bitch, and explains to Cheyenne that she didn't know that she was showing up. She doesn't want anything to do with her, and that she only wants to figure out where this thing with Cheyenne can go. And one thing I will say about Cheyenne and Harley is instantly their banter goes crazy. They are back and forth. They both are very quick-witted. They both like to tease each other. It's so cute. It's so fantasy life. It's so perfect gay romance, you know? And we can only hope. We can only hope. After explaining everything to Cheyenne and Harley end up fucking. One thing you're gonna learn about them is they love to talk and then fuck. That's kind of what they do. And they do it very well because that night Cheyenne ends up coming 4 times. Minimum. They say that they keep going all night, but we know at least minimum 4 times. After a game that the Baton Rouge team ends up losing, Harley finds out that one of the physical therapists for the team ended up quitting. Throughout this time that she's known Cheyenne has not had a job because she's been looking for a physical therapist job. So Harley goes to talk to her coach to see if she can get Cheyenne an interview. Well, she gets Cheyenne the interview that night, and Cheyenne gets the job, and so now she's the physical therapist for the team. After her interview, it's late at night, and Harley ends up taking Cheyenne on a tour of the facility, showing her all the things, and then takes her back to her apartment where she ends up giving head to Cheyenne once again. Laid up in Harley's bed, Cheyenne asks Harley if she would like to meet her family for 4th of July. And when I read this, I was like, damn, you bitches move fucking fast. But of course they do. They're gay. And I hate the stereotype, but the stereotype is true, you guys. But Cheyenne does say that they would be introduced as friends and nothing more because neither one of them want to put a label on anything because of both of their past relationships, of them getting cheated on and they're heartbroken and they don't want to rush into anything. Well, Harley gets a little bit upset because she does not want to be introduced to Cheyenne's family as her friend. She would like to be more than friends and put a label on it. And so she kind of ends up dismissing Cheyenne and tells her to leave because she has a busy day. Upset by being dismissed, Cheyenne goes and tells her cousin Nyla that she just wasn't feeling it anymore and that she was just so scared to get her heart broken again. But she didn't know what was going on with Harley. And Harley, upset by not wanting to be introduced as friends, but also keeping it to herself that she has real feelings for Cheyenne, to both of her best friends. The best friends and the cousin suggest that both women go out that night to kind of get their mind off of each other. What they don't know is that this is a plot and that Nyla and one of Harley's best friends, Simone, are actually talking to each other, and so they kind of coordinate them going out to the same club. Of course, when they see each other at the club, they instantly walk away from the group and go to the bathroom. In the bathroom, Harley admits that the reason she dismissed Cheyenne that morning was because she had real feelings for Cheyenne and could not pretend that she did not want a label because they were basically already doing relationship things. Cheyenne would sleep over there. They have hella PDA around their friends and teammates. They're not hiding anything. They are literally doing relationship things just without the label. Which, again, another queer stereotype. I need you guys to get it together. Even if you are moving a little fast, admit the feelings, see where the train take you. See where this rocket will take you. Like, just go for it. Once Cheyenne agrees, yep, you guessed it, Harley ends up fingering her in one of the bathroom stalls at the club and also gives her head. They walk back out to their friends, all cuddled up, happy, holding hands, sitting on laps, more PDA, and everything seems to be going great. It's now 4th of July, and Nyla and Cheyenne go to visit their family, and that's also where Harley will be meeting them. They have a little cousin talk, and Cheyenne finds out that Simone and Nyla are fucking, and that's how they both end up at the same club. Cheyenne ends up going to talk to her parents, and her parents are super supportive. Her mother just wants to see her happy, and her father is your typical father who doesn't really understand LGBTQ but is supportive anyway. He calls the sapphic flag the salmon flag, and I thought that was really funny. But while they're having this conversation, Harley kind of just shows up behind Cheyenne and meets the parents, and the parents seem to really like her. That night, you guessed it again, they end up fucking in the shower, in front of the mirror, and on the bed because Harley cannot keep her hands to herself. One thing I will say is Harley loves her a BBW, and girl, same. Because Harley, of course, I love a masculine presenting person with feminine personality and tendencies. And then with Cheyenne, I love a feminine presenting woman who's confident and sometimes has masculine personality or tendencies. As long as you're not who the world should think you should be, I like you, pretty much. And throughout this entire book, Harley does nothing but praise Cheyenne, does nothing but treat her like the queen that she is, and Cheyenne does the same back, which makes me think that it's a Virgo-Taurus relationship because both are very attentive and both care for the other deeply. Finally, having someone looking out for them is what they both needed, and they found that in each other, and I think it's so cute. But like I said, they end up fucking in the shower. Harley picks her up out the shower and places her in front of a mirror so she can watch, and then from the mirror they go to the bed. And I will say the sex scenes are not super dragged out. You get a clear picture and then it's on to the next. They do fuck a lot, but it's not an overwhelming amount of the plot. You still have character development, you still have them having intimacy outside of sex. I really love this book, I really do. That was 4th of July, now it's September. Throughout this book so far, you kind of get hints of Harley having a hurt shoulder that she can't really overextend, but we never really know how she injured the shoulder. Come to find out, when she found out that Kelsey had cheated on her, she kind of went into this depressive state, and in her worst depressive states, Harley likes to box. Well, one day she went into the ring extremely unprepared, threw out her shoulder, and now after even a year of physical therapy, it's just not the same. She feels better now that she can play, but she did almost ruin her career over this trifling ass bitch. Well, sometime in September, Corey, one of Harley's best friends, and I would say like her closest friend, Corey ends up walking into Cheyenne's office in the facility. Corey basically comes incorrect and disrespectful. She says, "You better not hurt my best friend. You better not be just like her ex Kelsey." And then Cheyenne ends up saying, "I would never do that to her," and some other stuff. And Corey ends up saying, "Oh, you just like that bitch. You gonna do her wrong." Again, Cheyenne get active about her. She slapped the shit out of Corey and told her to get the fuck out her office. After that, of course, difficult and crazy conversation, Cheyenne goes home and she ends up falling asleep. Since she wasn't answering Harley's text, Harley ends up calling her and says, "Open the door." And she's standing outside of her apartment. Harley asks, "What's wrong with you? You usually wait for me after practice. What's up?" And Cheyenne ends up telling Harley everything that Corey said. And of course, Harley is pissed because how dare this bitch? Even if you had concerns that I was going to fall as hard for this woman as I did this other bitch who broke my heart, you have no right to go and talk to my woman behind my back about what she better not do. The fuck? Who the fuck do you think that you are? It is now October, and hearing of what Corey did, Harley goes off on Corey in the locker room. The season's over. Harley's like, I'm taking a vacation. I can't be here around y'all. I need to go be somewhere with my girl. Directly after that, Harley goes to Cheyenne's apartment just as Cheyenne is about to leave to the grocery store, so Harley tags along. Well, in the grocery store, they're being cute or whatever, and then Cheyenne ends up seeing Dante and his bitch and the fucking baby. Cheyenne and Harley try to avoid him, but he ends up walking up to both of them and basically, I guess, is begging to get back with Cheyenne. He ends up telling her that he can't believe that she would just let 5 years go down the drain, and how could she let one little mistake ruin what they had. The audacity of men. Ugh. Cheyenne is distraught, and once they get back to the apartment, she kind of breaks down. She tells Harley that she doesn't love him anymore, doesn't want anything to do with him. She just couldn't believe seeing him with a kid because they had always talked about having a future together. She was 27, about to be 28, and she wanted kids, and she just couldn't believe his audacity. During this conversation, Harley ends up saying that if her and Cheyenne are together in 2 years, that she wanted to have children with her, and that, hell, she'll even carry. That's how bad so that she wanted it. They end up cooking dinner, and they end up saying that they love each other, and it's just this really beautiful moment between the both of them. Now, specifically, on October 17th, Harley ends up taking Cheyenne out to a picnic to some park, and they end up sitting up under a big tree, flying kites. Harley had baked Cheyenne some cupcakes that she'd been craving, and they're interacting with the kids, and it's this nice carefree day for the both of them, and it's a really cute date. At the picnic, Harley ends up asking if Cheyenne will read a book to her, and it's the cutest thing ever. Listen, that is my dream. If there's any Black women out there who want to have a little picnic and wants me to read them a book, I'm always reading. I'm literally constantly reading. Let me read to you. You can fall asleep in my lap. I'll stroke your hair. It'll be a good little time. We can have some food. What you want, babe? Some days after this, Harley does end up leaving to go to California to visit her mother for some time. That Monday at work, Corey ends up coming into Cheyenne's office, and Cheyenne's like, what the fuck do you want? Corey comes to apologize for talking reckless earlier and ends up thanking her for spending the 17th with Harley. Corey goes on to reveal that the 17th is the day that Harley's father had passed away. He passed away 5 years earlier from cancer, and that the 17th was just always a hard day for Harley. Apparently, her and her father would always go to a park, have a picnic, fly kites, and spend the day out there. And Cheyenne ends up revealing that that's exactly what they did. Here, Corey kind of connects the dots that Cheyenne is very important to Harley, that even her and Simone, the best friends, have never even been to the park because Harley won't share it with them. And so Cheyenne must mean a lot to Harley for them to have done that. Cheyenne ends up feeling kind of bad because she didn't know that it was such a hard day for Harley because Harley never told her. So that night she ends up calling Harley and asks, why didn't you tell me? I could have been there for you. And in great communication, Harley ends up saying that she's sorry, that she does want to be more vulnerable with Cheyenne, that she loves her, and that she wants to be more open, and that she's going to continue to work on that and share the vulnerabilities of her life. Now we are in November, and Cheyenne and Harley are supposed to be going to Houston for like a weekend getaway, but when Cheyenne gets to Harley's apartment, first of all, she got a key to Harley's apartment. Y'all have only been dating for like, what, 3-4 months at this point? What you mean she got a key? But maybe they're a little bit more mature than me. You know, lesbian stereotypes, yes, y'all are moving fast, but they are 27 and 31, so they're more mature than me. But after 3 to 4 months, ain't no bitch having no key to my apartment. I don't know you. What am I supposed to do with that? Like, I'm not gonna just have you walking up in my house like you own this bitch, like you pay bills around this bitch. No, you better let me know when you're coming, and you better knock every single time. Cheyenne ends up walking in and finds Harley sick in her bed. So instead of going to Houston, Cheyenne nurses Harley back to health. They end up fucking in the kitchen once Harley feels a little bit better. And when I say fucking in the kitchen, I mean on the counter, on the floor, on the dining table. Anywhere that Harley could pick up and place Cheyenne, she did. And she fucked her right then and there. It is now time for Thanksgiving, and Harley goes with Cheyenne to visit her family and spend Thanksgiving with them. While there, Harley ends up meeting Cheyenne's uncle and his new girlfriend. And his new girlfriend's a little off-putting to Harley, but the uncle ends up explaining that she's just a little nervous because her daughter and her new husband are supposed to be coming to Thanksgiving dinner, and this is the first time she's seen her daughter in about 2 years. They just moved back to Baton Rouge, so she's just a little on edge. Now let me tell you, this is where I started shaking, cause you fucking guessed it, bitch. The daughter is fucking Kelsey. Hell the fuck no. When I tell you, I would have to shut that shit down so motherfucking quick the moment that bitch walked through the door. I am so sorry, Grandma, but you gotta pack this shit up. Everybody ain't gotta go home, but they gotta get the hell up on out of here. Especially that bitch. Cause as Cheyenne, ain't no way this hoe is spending this sacred holiday with my goddamn family in my goddamn family house, eating my goddamn family food. I don't think so. And she shows up with her bitch ass husband and her bitch ass child. I'm so sorry to the child. But oh my god. No way. In traditional black family style, of course, families at this long dinner table, and Kelsey and her husband end up sitting right across from Cheyenne and Harley. Thankfully, they do not really interact during dinner. However, after dinner, Kelsey does pull Harley aside, asking to talk on the front porch. On the porch, Kelsey admits to a few things. Number one, she ends up admitting that her mother is homophobic and that she would have a heart attack if she ever found out that her daughter liked women. I don't give a fuck, Keisha.
I don't give a fuck, Keisha.
That's why Harley never met her family. That's why she never allowed for Harley to post her. And that's why she kind of kept her family life and her romantic life separate. B, she ends up admitting that when she showed up to Harley's apartment door all the months ago, that she was looking to get back together, see if they had a spark still, see if Harley still had feelings for her. And that's what she was hoping for. Because C, she ends up admitting that if Harley wanted her back in that moment, she would have left her husband. Just right then and there. What? So then 4. After Harley rejects her the first time, she ends up admitting of being jealous of Cheyenne, basically asking what that bitch got on me. What do you see in her? Then 5. After Harley says that she wants nothing to do with Kelsey, to stay the fuck away from her, that she plans on marrying Cheyenne and that she loves her to death, Kelsey ends up saying that she hates Harley, which no you don't, because you came to drop all your shit 4 months ago to try to get back together. That don't make no goddamn sense. Harley does end up trying to walk away, but then Kelsey starts hitting on her, and I mean like hitting on her. Apparently she did this all throughout their relationship, which is never okay. If a woman puts their hands on you as a woman, hit that bitch back. That's the law. That's literally the rules. But Harley would never put her hands back on Kelsey because she knew that she was stronger than her and didn't want to take the bitch clean out. And she loved her too much to even think about putting her hands on her. Well, of course, the entire family inside is listening to this conversation through the front door. And so when they start to see Kelsey beating up on Harley, they come separate them. Included in listening is Cheyenne and Kelsey's mother. Kelsey's mother ends up apologizing because everyone's looking at her like, you homophobic, bitch? Apparently during this conversation, Cheyenne wanted to go out onto the porch and beat Kelsey's ass, but her cousins were holding her back. Now we are in December. At work one day, one of the teammates ends up coming in for her weekly massage that she gets from Cheyenne. The player's name is Jessie. Jessie and Cheyenne have become pretty good friends, so they're of course chopping it up like friends during this massage. During this conversation, Jessie ends up admitting that she dated Harley's little sister Lyric for about 2 years until one day she just picked up and moved to London. Jessie believes it was because Lyric wanted to avoid commitment and that she was heartbroken over it, but she could never tell Harley because Harley was super overprotective of her little sister and because the little sister simply didn't want either one of her sisters in her business. Cheyenne decides to keep this information to herself, so to kind of decompress after work, she calls up Nyla to see if she wants to go shopping. Nyla says yeah, and they're going to meet up at this plus size store that Cheyenne used to work at, I think in college. While at the store, Cheyenne ends up chopping it up with her old manager, who's an older black woman. And while there, Kelsey ends up walking into the store. I know. We cannot get rid of this bitch. God, I wish we could. Oh, how I wish this bitch would just leave. Go back to Atlanta, ho. Actually, don't. Because, again, you're giving us a bad fucking name. Go somewhere else, like Cincinnati or something. Bye, bitch. Kelsey ends up calling the store manager over for some help and just ends up being really rude, which, again, bad name for ATL hoes. She ends up yelling at the old woman, basically saying, you old bitch, how do you even work up in here? You know nothing about fashion. And Cheyenne comes over and says, watch your attitude, ho. Watch how you talk to this woman. She not trying to do nothing but help you. Kelsey comes back with some fat phobic joke and says something else. All I know is Cheyenne get active, so she ends up beating that hoe ass. Once separated, Cheyenne come out basically clean. All she got is a ripped up shirt. But Kelsey hoe ass got a busted lip, a busted eye, and her tracks scattered across the floor. Well, unfortunately, they both end up getting arrested and being put in holding cells. While sitting in the holding cell, Cheyenne ends up realizing that she's bleeding, and one of the officers comes and patches her up and then lets her know that she can leave. Outside, Cheyenne is greeted by Nyla, Harley, and I thought that this was just cute, but Harley's cousin's name is Autumn, and Autumn's girlfriend's name is Winter, and that was just so cute. Like, y'all are Autumn and Winter. Y'all were made for each other. So it's Nyla, Harley, and Winter. Autumn's not there. But apparently Winter's like brother-in-law and something is some high-ranking police, and so the store is not pressing charges for them fighting, so Cheyenne can just get out scot-free. Cool. Harley is not thrilled by this situation and is quite frankly really upset because the reason Cheyenne was bleeding was because Kelsey had a knife on her, and that situation could have gone very differently, and Harley could not live without Cheyenne, especially not over that trick-ass hoe. About 2 weeks later, Harley and Cheyenne are out to dinner. During those 2 weeks, Cheyenne was kind of beating herself up over the situation, saying that she should have never stooped down to Kelsey's level. And Harley just continues to reassure her that she did what she had to do, just it shouldn't happen again. And now they're back to their bubbly, loving selves. At dinner, Harley ends up surprising Cheyenne with a trip to Florida because Cheyenne's never been. So they're going to go out to California to visit Harley's family for Christmas, and then Christmas night they are going to leave to head to Florida. Their flight to California leaves the next day, so Harley drops off Cheyenne at her apartment and drives back to her own to finish packing, and she says to Cheyenne that she'll come back after she's done packing. When Harley gets to her own apartment, she finds Corey drunk as fuck sitting at her door. And at this point, I thought, damn, is Corey the one in love with Harley? Like, is that another plot twist? Was Thanksgiving, having Kelsey bitch ass show up to Thanksgiving, not enough of a plot twist? But thank God I was wrong. Apparently, Corey is out there drunk as fuck because her girlfriend broke up with her because she was too feminine. And I absolutely hate that. Don't date women if you don't like women. She's a woman at the end of the day. Of course she's going to be feminine. She should be treated like the pretty princess that she is. And as a woman who dates mostly masculine women, I've never understood that. you're my girl. You're not my man, you're not my boyfriend, you are my girl, you're my girlfriend, you're my wife. What are we talking about? My exes can say a lot about me, but none of them hoes can say that I did not treat them as the woman that they are and respect them for the woman that they are. During this drunken conversation, Corey also ends up admitting that she saw Lyric, Harley's little sister, earlier that day at the training center talking to Jesse. Harley's confused as fuck by this because Lyric lives in London and she's not even responding to if she'll come to California for Christmas. So the fact that she's in Baton Rouge is like, what the fuck? So Harley calls up Lyric and Lyric basically says that she doesn't feel like talking about it, but yes, she'll be in California and they can talk then. Once in California, Cheyenne ends up meeting the family and it goes very well, and she also ends up meeting both sisters. Now it is Christmas Day, and in about 2 hours, Cheyenne and Harley need to leave to catch their flight to Florida. As Cheyenne is walking out of the bathroom, she notices Lyric crying in her room. Having the happy and opening and bubbly personality that she has, Lyric does end up opening up to Cheyenne, admitting that she feels very insecure compared to her sisters. Her older sister, Shannon, is this big shot lawyer with a successful marriage and kids. And then Harley is a successful WNBA player who makes all this money. And so that's kind of why Lyric likes to keep her world to herself, because then she can never really disappoint anyone. However, keeping everything to herself did lead to the end of her relationship with Jesse and caused her to run away and avoid commitment. And she's realizing that that might have been the best relationship she had ever been in. So she was in Baton Rouge that day to talk to Jesse because she put her pride aside, caught a flight, but Jesse wanted nothing to do with her, and so she just wasn't feeling the best. Cheyenne encourages Lyric to go talk to her sisters and tell them how she feels and let them reassure her, because they never want to make her feel insecure compared to them, that she has her own life, but that she can be open with both of them instead of allowing both of them to kind of worry about what's going on with her. About 20 minutes later, after the sisters have this conversation, it is time for Harley and Cheyenne to head to the airport. Once at the airport, you guessed it, they end up fucking in the bathroom. Harley gives Cheyenne head in the bathroom, and then once they get to their hotel, they end up fucking in the hotel too. However, this scene is particularly very special, not to me, but like to the LGBTQ community, because Cheyenne has typically only been with very masculine women who were touch-me-nots, and so she's never really had much interaction with women. And so in this scene, Harley ends up guiding Cheyenne on how to use the strap and how to use it on her, and it's just this very beautiful moment where there's reassurance, there's no judgment. Both women are comfortable enough to be teaching and to be learning, and it's beautiful. Now, somehow Harley end up flipping Cheyenne to where she's now riding, and I don't know how you do that with it still being inside you. Like, I think it was still inside her, but that sounded like it hurt low-key. But go off, queen. After they get done fucking, Harley ends up behind Cheyenne and starts feeling on her and kissing on her and starts rubbing on her downstairs a little bit. And on the verge of about to come, Harley asks Cheyenne if she will marry her, and Cheyenne does end up saying yes. Mind you, they've been dating for like 5 months, but who am I to judge? I can't talk at all whatsoever, so y'all do y'all, boo, y'all in love, yay! Now, Cheyenne thought Harley was playing, but come January, she got a big rock on her hand, and Harley was dead serious. Cheyenne ended up telling nobody that they got engaged, not her cousin, not her parents, nobody. Well, one day at work in January, Simone and Corey end up walking into Cheyenne's office with these huge grins on their face, and she's like, what the fuck do y'all want? They end up telling her that Harley admitted to the entire team that she proposed over the holidays, and at the same time, Nyla ends up walking in, her cousin, and it's like, bitch, let me see the ring. And that's very cousin behavior, which, again, I feel so very seen in this book. It's very realistic. I absolutely love it. Cheyenne ends up asking, well, where's Harley? Practice ended a minute ago. Where is she? I'm about to get off work. And Nyla, Simone, and Corey end up leading Cheyenne to the practice gym. Once them doors open, it's music, it's flower petals, it's a big flower arch, and the entire team is in there, and so is the staff, and so are fans, and so is Harley's family and Cheyenne's family, as well as a news crew and a sports crew, like a sports camera crew. And when Cheyenne finally makes her way to Harley in the center of the gym, Harley ends up confessing her love to Cheyenne in front of everyone. She says she wanted to let the entire world know how much she loves this woman, how she would do anything for her, how she feels so comfortable and safe with Cheyenne, and that she just had to make this declaration of love and propose to Cheyenne properly. Afterwards, we find out that they moved in together and that they are discussing their wedding and possible future baby names. And that is technically the end of the book, but y'all know I love me a good epilogue. So in the epilogue, it is now April 2028, so it's about 3 years since the proposal. And Cheyenne and Harley have moved out to California, and they ended up having twins at the beginning of 2028, both girls. And if you're wondering, Cheyenne's the one that carried. Harley is retired from the WNBA, but they're still rich because Harley has some business that they don't tell us about. But overall, it was a beautiful book, 10s across the board. It was easy read, it was lighthearted, it was funny, it was romantic. There was no real hardships except for exes and crazy friends, which can't hate on that. From the moment I picked up the book, I was cheesing from beginning to end. Like, not only is it my WNBA wife fantasy, my goal in life, but it was also just an easy black queer love, and it was just beautiful, 10s across the board. I loved. If you like this episode, let me know. Share it with some friends, share it on social media, girl. I don't know, do something with it. Make sure you follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Everything is at She's So Booked. And if you have any recommendations, use the link tree. There's a form at the bottom to submit books. And yeah, girl, don't forget to get booked and stay booked. Bye.